What's good, people? It's Joshua from Joshua Chubb Photography, back again with another video. And in today's video, I'm telling you guys my thoughts here on the Fujifilm X-M5. Kind of, you could say it's an early review. When it comes to image quality, this 26 megapixel sensor has been in Fuji's lineup since 2018 or 2021. No, I think 2018 with the Fujifilm X-T3. So there's a ton of videos on this camera, but also for cameras with the same sensor. So I'm not really going to drop any like sample photos or anything like that from this camera, but this will be kind of a user review. This isn't a camera that I thought I would buy. There were definitely some things that came out that were red flags when I first saw the camera. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to tell you why I didn't think I would like the camera, what I do like about the camera, maybe a wish for a future firmware update. So yeah, let's get right into it. So reason number one why I did not think I would like the camera is the lack of an EDF. I am primarily a photographer, and most of the cameras that I've ever used have had EVFs. Um, but I still decided to overlook that and go ahead and pick up the camera. Reason number two why I did not think I would like the camera is the lack of IBIS. But again, kind of reverting back to me being a photographer first, I don't really shoot that often in low light. I'm not really trying to do time lapses and things like that. So I didn't really think the IBIS would be a bother. So again, that's why I decided to pick it up. And the third reason why I did not think I would like the camera is because of the film sim dial. I do think it's gimmicky, but I did kind of find maybe a good use case for it, for people who are really into recipes and experimenting. So let's get into my top-down shot here. So of course, when we have the XM5 here in our C mode, we're able to change our film simulations just in the menu system. And that is going to work like pretty much any other Fujifilm camera. And of course, on the XM5, we do have our custom functions, which I personally also have set up for different film simulations. But what you have to run into, let's say this film sim is based on classic negative. If I start rotating this dial is going to override my classic negative here. Now, obviously, that can be bad if you're not paying attention, because now maybe you messed up your film simulation. But where you can get pretty creative is, let's say maybe you're a person who you don't have a certain film sim dialed in, but maybe you like to have certain settings locked in. So for example, maybe you always shoot with your grain on weak small. Maybe you always have your highlights at -2 and your shadows at +1, and you always have your noise reduction at -4. What this can allow you to do, whether you're locked in on C1 or anywhere on the PASM dial, is you can keep those settings that I just mentioned locked in, but now you can change film simulations, and those same settings that you have locked in will now just move over to a new simulation. So I do think that is pretty cool because it does allow you to experiment in a way that's pretty unique to this camera alone. So I will say that is a pro. Another reason why I do like the camera is just how compact it is. Now, if you guys seen one of my most recent videos, I showed you the different ways that I like to carry my cameras. This camera can get pretty small to where you can almost put it in the pocket, depending on what lens you have on. If you have a big jacket pocket, you can definitely do that. But I'm not a person who's going to put my camera in a pocket. If I'm going to carry a camera, usually the smallest thing will be on a sling, and I'll wear it on my chest. So I do like that it's small. With the 27mm lens, I can fit it inside my 1 liter sling from Clever Supply Co. So I definitely like that. I do like the fact that this camera has a flippy screen. Often I, want to shoot vertical, so it's nice to not have to break my back if I want to do that from a low angle. And this is actually, surprisingly, the only range designed camera that Fuji has with the X-Trans sensor, right? So now I'm being pretty specific with my words because they do have, I believe it's the XA7, which is a lower build, has the Bayer sensor that does have a range design with the flip out screen. But as far as their newer cameras, their X-Trans sensor cameras, this is the only one with this exact design of rangefinder with flippy screen. One of my favorite cameras that I've used is the Fujifilm X-E4. And the Fujifilm X-E4, you did get your more tilt screen for photography, and you could still flip it up for selfie mode, which I do like to do pretty often. However, I shoot most of my photos like this or like this. And when you're trying to get low, you just cannot do that on the X-E4. So I do like that it has the flippy screen. Going back to the top-down shot, one feature that I would hope that they would, decide to do via a firmware update. Of course, we have the Fujifilm X-E5 and the newly announced X-T30 Mark III, where these FS3 2-in-1 can be custom recipes. I hope that Fujifilm would add that to the X-M5. I don't know if they will though, because both the X-E5, the X-T30 Mark III, and also the X-T50 that has your FS123 on the film sim dial all have a shutter speed dial here. And this X-M5 does not have the shutter speed dial, obviously. So what that could look like for them to do FS1 to be a recipe is maybe just make it where as long as you're in the PASM mode, that FS1, 2, and 3 can be a custom recipe. And then if you go into C1, 2, or 3, then maybe just have the dial operate like it already does, where whatever this is, film simulation wise, will override what settings are here or what film simulation is here. So I don't know if they would do that because it does seem pretty convoluted to remember. I mean, not really, but FS1, 2, or 3 only works on the PASM. I don't know if that will happen, but it's on the wish list. Part of why I also like this camera is it almost reminds me of a modern day X70, and obviously it's not, right? The X-M1, which is a camera that I've used before, was pretty much like this. It had a tilt screen, no EVF. It did have a pop-up flash. So one gripe that I have, Fuji keeps taking off the flashes from some of their cameras. They killed the flash on the X-E3, didn't get it on the X-E4 or the X-E5. They've taken the flash off the X-M1. Take the film sim dial off, put the pop-up flash back. I'd be happy with it. I do love having a little flash because you just never know when you're going to need it for a pop-up fill light or for creative effects. But this kind of reminds me, if Fujifilm were to make an X80, I feel it would look very similar to this. I mean, we have still the no EDF. We have a very small, compact body. So Fuji, if you're listening, you're probably not gonna watch my channel, but somebody tag Fujifilm. If you guys can please make an X80, it could literally be this same body. Keep the flip up screen, keep the mode selector dial down here. If you want to put the film sim dial on there, if that's what it takes to get the X80, fine. Keep the pop-up flash, keep the 18 millimeter, 18 and a half millimeter lens on the front, obviously. But please, just give us that camera. Just give us that camera. Let's see here. But the XM5, of course, again, because I said the X-E4 is one of my favorite cameras, but also the X70 is probably my favorite point and shoot camera. I would take a updated X80 over the X100 any day, and that's mainly because of the focal length. I really prefer 28 millimeter over 35 millimeter, just for like my everyday life and documentation. So I would much more like that instead. But I mean, I can throw on like the 18 millimeter f2, and you know, this is going to be obviously better than the XE or the X70 was, right? So you still could change lenses on it. You got the flippy screen. But yeah, so this is a great camera though. As far as image quality, obviously, I mean, it was their flagship sensor back in 2018. I have it fitted with the, we'll go back top down. I have it fitted here with the Tilta thumb grip. I do also have the hand grip as well that Tilta have. I really prefer how Tilta goes about their branding compared to Small Rig, because you can see this part is engraved here, and also we have the engraving on the thumb grip itself, where I think on the Small Rig it's just like really big and it's in white letters, Small Rig, and it just jumps out at you, and I do not really prefer that. The only maybe downside about this Tilta hand grip is once you throw the screw in here, and you can see the screw right here, it has a star key on it, so it's definitely not a common key. I have to definitely make sure I don't lose the key that came with it, or I'm not going to be able to take the grip off very easily. And then it also does come with, because obviously the XM5 is a very compact camera, the grip is not Arca Swiss, so they give you this other little piece that you can slide on, and then you clamp it in place, and then now you have an Arca Swiss compatible bottom. The only thing I do not really like about this design, because I'm fine with how thin this is, I mean, it's super thin, it's super sleek, but they should have put a screw on the bottom here. So if you maybe don't have an Arca Swiss, or maybe you want to mount it to something else, this having a 1/4 screw would have been clutch, and you just don't get that. So not too big of a deal there, but just something that I thought that I would mention. But ultimately, I am going to sell this camera. You do also get your headphone jack here, 3.5, compared to, I think, the 2.5 that you get on the XT50, and I think also on the XT30 Mark III. And then you also have, I didn't mean to say that for the headphone jack. I don't even think you get a headphone jack on the XT50 and XT30 Mark III. I believe you get a USB-C port, and then you have to use a headphone adapter. What I meant to say was the mic jack is 3.5. not the headphone jack, so forgive me for that. But using the camera is fine. One thing I don't particularly enjoy is the way I have it set up here. I use the front dial to control my ISO, and I also use it to control the aperture if I'm using a lens that doesn't have it on it. And so sometimes when I'm rotating the aperture really fast, I might accidentally click this front button in. Sometimes it's pretty easy to do it when you're trying to scroll. So I don't really enjoy that. It doesn't really have enough custom function buttons. I remapped the record button in photo mode to be Face ID. And then I think I remapped the AEL button for something, but I forgot what it was for. Oh, actually it's nothing right now. And then I have like some touch functions, swipe down for white balance. I think that's the only one I got right now, but it could use an extra custom button. Not a lot of room on the back. The grip, switch back to the top down, the grip is a little bit thin, obviously here. This hand grip does help out a little bit, but even then, I got large, slender hands, so sometimes it feels like I'm gonna get carpal tunnel trying to, maybe do certain things like one-handed. So ultimately, I am getting rid of this camera in favor of a different Fujifilm camera, a camera that I somehow keep coming back to, which is the XS20. It really just does everything better than the XM5. As far as the ergonomics, you got more custom buttons, you got a better grip, you get the bigger battery, you get the EVF, you get IBIS, and it's still a relatively compact camera. So you get better screen resolution as well, which honestly I was maybe not as big of a deal as I thought it was. This screen here, you get a 1.04 million dot, which is the same as the XE5 for some reason, because the XE5 is a lot more. But Fuji, they just put the 1.6 million dot screen in the X-T30 Mark III, and it's only $100 more. I feel like they probably should have just put the same screen here, since it's the only input that you have with the camera. But that's neither here nor there, and it's not as big as a gap as I thought it would be when I compared it side by side to the XS20. So I guess we'll give them a pass there. But yeah, the XS20 just kind of does everything a little bit better than this camera does. So ultimately, I will be letting it go. It is listed for sale on eBay. So you can find it there, or if you want to buy it directly from me, drop your Instagram handle and I will send you a message. You can see it's obviously in mint condition. You'll get the tilt equipment there as well, and I'll include a red soft shutter release button for you. But yeah, overall, great little camera. I mean, you get the 6.2 open gate recording, you get the new vertical recording if you're into that. But overall, it is a pretty decent camera for what it is, but just another one that ticks most of the boxes for me. But yeah, let me know. Are you guys rocking the XM5? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? But I appreciate you guys if you made it to the end of the video. And until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.